Teacher talking time is actually a good thing. So then, why do teacher trainers like myself spend so much time trying to wean you off it and get you to reduce it? Hi, my name's Fergus Fadden and I'm a CELTA teacher trainer. And if you're new here, you're going to find videos on all aspects of the CELTA course, how to prepare for it, and indeed how to succeed on it. So let's jump into today's topic. I want to start by reading you a quote from that book which I often recommend, which is Learning Teaching by Jim Scrivener. He has a great quote on teacher talking time. So I'm just going to read it to you. He says, an essential lesson that every new teacher needs to learn is that talking at the learners does not necessarily mean that learning is taking place. In many cases, TTT, or teacher talking time, is actually time when the learners are not doing very much and are not very involved. Working on ways to become more aware of unnecessary teacher talking time is something to add to your list of priorities. So I emphatically agree with this quote, and in many ways it seems to disagree with the whole thesis of this video, or the title that I have for this video. But I'm going to zero in on his exact wording there. So he talks about becoming aware of unnecessary teacher talking time, which by its flip implies that there are opportunities for necessary teacher talking time. If you look at the assessment criteria from your CELTA 5, the Cambridge criteria by which you are assessed, one of those criteria says that you must provide accurate models of language for your students. You must provide accurate models of language. Where did those accurate models of language come from? They come from you, the teacher. So that's the first indicator that not all teacher talking time is bad. In fact, starting to see when there are good opportunities. The first one is so obvious is when you're modeling and drilling language for pronunciation. So you've just clarified the meaning and form of, let's say, the present perfect, and then you're going to drill those contractions. So I have been to Ireland. You're going to drill those things and use techniques like that, a finger technique to show contractions, whatever it may be. So that's the first example of where teacher talking time can be good. Other great opportunities for effective teacher talking time are at the beginning of the lesson when students are coming in. Just sit down, have a little bit of conversation with them. I recently released a video on my channel here of a demo vocabulary lesson, and you'll see me there just chit-chatting with the learners. This really helps put everybody at their ease. It gives them an opportunity to just try out some language without any particular focus, really to develop their fluency with you, either expert non-native speaker or an expert native speaker of English. So that's a great opportunity for your learners. If I could swing back there to pronunciation one more time, often we see in course books, there's a pronunciation section and then it asks you to play the recording and get the students to repeat what they've heard in the recording. I would almost always say if it's discrete items, if it's a vocabulary or let's say short phrases in a functional language lesson, for example, you are always going to be a much better model of language than an audio recording. Every time. Why? Well, first of all, you're there in the class with them, so they can watch your mouth, they can hear you better, it's visual and auditory for them. It also gives you an opportunity to scan the students' reactions to your models. So every time, if it's just vocabulary items or pieces of functional language, I would say that you should provide those models. Teacher talking time is also a great opportunity for you to develop your eliciting. And what do I mean? Well, what I often try to do is turn my speech, when I'm becoming more conscious of that unnecessary teacher talking time that Scrivener refers to, and I'm trying to access the necessary teacher talking time, what I do is I turn my speech into questions. And by turning my speech into questions, then that starts to become eliciting. Let's say I have my materials here and I say, okay, what do you see here? What color is it? What am I holding in my hand? Question, question, question. That's inviting opportunities for the learners to get engaged, to speak, for student talking time to happen. The next great advantage from this is it gives you, the teacher, the opportunity to practice your listening. Now you might be thinking to yourself, what do you mean? It's the students who do the listening. Sure, they're listening for language purposes, but what you can do is you can listen for error correction opportunities. You can listen for what are the students' interests. You can listen to respond to the content of what they've said. You can listen to respond to them linguistically. I'm going to repeat one more time that those accurate models of language are crucial. So the flip of an accurate model of language could be sometimes what's described as Pigeon English, where we say, kind of like that Tarzan English, like you go, you want eat. When we start to speak like that, sometimes we feel that that's going to help with understanding, and maybe in some real world scenarios, maybe it does. I can't say that I've done any deep research on that. However, what I can say is from the point of view of, one, doing your CELTA, and then the extension of that, teaching in a language classroom, students need to hear accurate models of language because that's what they're basing their practice on. So even if you're working with even an A1, a beginner student, sure, you need to slow down. Sure, you need to make sure that you're pronouncing things clearly. Sure, you need to grade your language and try to select language that is there's a higher frequency of usage there. There's a higher chance that the students will understand it. But at the same time, you must always use grammatically correct language. So instead of you, food, what, no, so, are you hungry? What's wrong with that? So remember, always try to keep those models of language as accurate as possible. Another thing we can do that will improve our teacher talking time is to avoid this running commentary. Often we'll hear on CELTA courses, we'll hear trainees describing what they're doing. So they might say, okay, everybody, so here in my hand, I have a handout, and on this handout, there's going to be a bunch of questions on there, and I'm going to get you to do the questions, and then I'm going to do this, and no. All of that is just describing what you're doing, and in many ways, it could go right over the student's head. It could make them feel a little bit anxious. Oh my goodness, I'm not catching everything the teacher's saying here, and there's a lot of speaking going on, so what should I be paying attention to here? So when you're giving instructions especially, try to be a little bit more direct. So instead of saying, here I have a handout, just say, everybody, look here. It may seem like it may seem like there's no difference there, but really there is. You're speaking much more directly and less kind of for your own internal monologue. Okay, that's it for me for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please let me know down in the comments, what has been your own experience with improving teacher talking time? Have you heard a lot about teacher talking time and reducing it and increasing student talking time on your own CELTA course? So where are you at with teacher talk now? Thank you so much for watching. Please, if you found some value, some use in this video, I'd be ever so grateful if you just hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. That would really mean the world to me. Again, if you find this useful. Yeah, just like I said, thank you so much for watching. It really does give me a lot of motivation to hear from people all over the world when they get something from these videos and they find some help from them. Okay, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.